WAAY 31 Hometown News at 5 starts now.
And welcome back to a special edition of WAAY 31 Hometown News. We have been on the air since about 4 o'clock ahead of Governor Bentley. They said that he was going to come and make a special announcement. First they said it was 3:30, then they pushed it back. Now we're supposed to hear that it's going to happen any minute.
We are expecting the governor to formally resign. This is a live look inside of the old State House.
The chambers.
The State House chambers, thank you. We have already received a press release from the office of the governor announcing that Kay Ivey will be sworn in as governor at 6 o'clock tonight, so that all but confirms that Governor Robert Bentley is going to be resigning within the next hour.
And we do have our two political analysts who are on hand in studio right for us right now. We have Dale Jackson and Dr. Wayman Burke. Now, we were talking a little bit about Kay Ivey and her experience. And Dr. Burke, you said you had a class who just met her last week, and you were impressed by the way that she was handling herself.
Yeah, obviously awkward circumstances at the time, Dr. Burke, and you said, though, that she carried herself quite nicely.
Yes.
That was an overall good experience for you.
Yes. We went down for a community college day, and but just by chance we ran into her and stopped her. She was very gracious. The students were very excited. Of course, they know the dynamics that were happening there, and by last Thursday we had a pretty good idea of how things were going to shake out. We just thought it would take a little longer.
Okay, I'm just kind of going through a little bit more about Kay Ivey's background. As Dale Jackson pointed out, she did make that run for governor a number of years aw. She is going to only be the second female governor in the history of Alabama. And in the previous case, it was Lurleen Wallace, wife of Guy Wallace, or George Wallace, excuse me.
Wrong disgrace governor.
Right. Yeah, because we were talking about the last governor to resign, Guy Hunt. So that's where I garbled two G names right there. And of course, in that instance, it had to do with campaign finances, buying campaign money, using campaign money to buy marble showers and lawnmowers. That was a strange case in and of itself in Alabama history.
You know, one thing that also needs to be pointed out is Kay Ivey's been relatively quiet about all of this. She's been out there. She could have said plenty about this, but she instead has stayed really quiet, knowing that this was going to happen. I know she knows more than all of us has, and she's been keeping a low profile. That's going to have to change. She's going to have to be a much more aggressive person than she has been so far in her political life, because she is going to have to set the tone here really quick.
All right, gentlemen, if you can just stand by for a moment here, because what a lot of us are wondering is, how did we even get to this point?
Exactly. And as you're looking at right now, that is a live view of Montgomery that we are waiting for Governor Robert Bentley to come and make an announcement. In the meantime, we do want to turn things over to one of our reporters, WAAY 31's Jeff Martin. He's going to explain how we even got to this point right now. Jeff has actually been covering this since it first broke back in, March 23rd, 2016. He's been covering it since then. So he's going to give us an update and kind of walk us through how we got to today. Jeff.
Bill and Demetria, if you can hear, there we go. So this all started about just over a year ago. All this was rumor and innuendo swirling around Montgomery of an affair between Governor Bentley and staffer Rebecca Mason. Then on March 23rd, 2016, March 22nd, 2016, Governor Bentley fired his law enforcement secretary, Spencer Collier. Spencer Collier held a press conference the next day alleging an affair between Bentley and Mason, and revealed the existence of an audio tape between the two of them. That was what we were told. Later that day, on March 23rd, Yellowhammer News published an audio tape of the governor talking in very explicit terms towards Mrs. Mason in a recorded phone conversation. However, we only have the governor's side. That's because that recording was made in the fall of 2014 by Governor Bentley's now divorced ex-wife, Diane Bentley. She and her chief of staff, Heather Hanna, as was revealed in the impeachment report, helped make that recording, and the existence of that recording led Governor Bentley to try and do everything he could to try and cover that up. You're seeing Spencer Collier in this video. He plays an incredibly important role in this. He brought the entire thing alive to all of what we knew, and that kind of brought us to where we are today. Bill?
Jeff, I know we're going to come back to you on this because, as I said, you're very well versed in this. We just had an opportunity to speak to Waco Mayor Tommy Battle.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and listen what he said about everything that's going on today.
This is a sad event that's happened, so there's always a healing time. But the state's stronger than one person. The state's stronger than one office. This state is a state that can respond and come back, and we've come back many times. So I think that now that this has happened, we can move forward. We can look to the future. We can know what to expect. We know who the governor is.
And that was Mayor Battle talking about the political climate in Alabama. You know, we talked about that in the floor clock hour when I was asking our political analyst, Dale Jackson, what does he think this is going to leave a huge stain? Do you think we can even recover from this? And Mayor Battle giving hope and saying, yes, we can. We can rebuild from this. What
is very interesting is Mayor Battle's name has been floated numerous times as a possible gubernatorial candidate in the next election. Jeff, I know we cut you off a moment ago. Do want to kind of go back to you because, as I said, this has been very, I don't want to say interesting because it's far more than that. But how this is all played out is certainly something the likes of which I don't believe this state has seen before.
That's exactly right, Bill. You take what Alabama politics was, and then you take this, brings it up to a whole new level. That's because, right, as I was talking about earlier, now that in April 2016, we've been told there's an affair. We've all heard the audio tapes. Representative Ed Henry of Hartsville starts an impeachment effort, gets the signatures he needs after a long, drawn-out process that even saw him and now Speaker of the House, Mac McCutcheon, having a very heated argument on the floor of the House about the process that would happen. At the time, all we knew was that the governor had possibly had an affair, not the allegations of a cover-up or any of the abuse of power things that we later discovered in the impeachment report. So at the time, there wasn't a lot of want or desire to impeach Governor Bentley. So that dragged on for a few more months. Then in the fall, the House Impeachment Committee announced that they were going to stop their investigation because the Attorney General at the time, Luther Strange, said he was conducting, quote, related work. That led to a lot of very strange questions because then President Donald Trump was elected, and that meant that Senator Jeff Sessions would be appointed to another position, leaving an open Senate seat. And it's no secret in Alabama politics that Luther Strange has always wanted to be in the United States Senate. So that led to allegations of was there a quid pro quo, was there something? And then when Luther Strange was appointed to the Senate, and at the State of the State address, where Rebecca Mason attended even though she no longer officially worked for the governor, that to many legislators, as I've been told, was a slap in the face. And that led to the increased amount of impeachment effort that we're seeing now. I'm also going to break down, as you can see on your screen, a little bit of the split here. I can actually see members of the governor's staff moving in there. That means that we're very close to something. We can see members of the media there in these old House chambers where the governor has had many a news conference talking about everything from health care to his prison plan to everything like that. Now it will be the point where he makes his last official announcement as governor. But to bring it back, so the impeachment report was published Friday. That included all sorts of revelations of things that we've only suspected, rumored, heard, might not be true. Now we have sworn testimony and actual evidence of some of these text messages and things like that. That brought us to last week, and especially Friday, where the governor's office filed a request for a temporary restraining order against this impeachment process, saying it violated the governor's due process rights. That's been kind of the underside of this that hasn't really been reported as much. We've done it when we can, but it's not near as interesting, is whether or not the governor was getting due process, whether this was a political or criminal process. As a special counsel for the investigation has made clear, it's a political process, and that led to some court drama Friday, and then today, when the impeachment committee presented their ruling. And Bill, I'm going to go back to you at the desk.
Jeff, I am sorry. We've just been handed a breaking news bulletin. Dee, what is it saying?
It says that Governor Robert Bentley today pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges. Those are the ones we were talking about. It's failing to file a major contribution report. It's in violation of the Code of Alabama and knowingly converting campaign contributions to personal use in violation of another. And it says that he has resigned from office. And this was sent today at 5:04. So, 4 minutes ago? This was just sent to our office.
Yeah, this is coming from Ellen Brooks, the acting district attorney in this case, given the fact that, as we said, Marshall was appointed to his position by Governor Bentley. So there you have it. This is the first thing that we have formally seen that does say Robert Bentley has resigned as governor of Alabama. Okay, we are still waiting on a formal announcement. Before we get to that, we want to go back to our political analysts, Dr. Wayman Burke and Dale Jackson. All right, there you have it, guys. What do you think?
Well, Ellen Brooks also was just quoted as saying that we can now refer to the governor, the former governor now, as a criminal. I mean, so they're speaking pretty strong terms down there about what happened. We'll have to wait as all this flushes out to see exactly what this means with some of the federal charges. Obviously, Jeff was talking a little bit about some of those other issues. There are other issues on the table. This may have wiped them clean. It may not have wiped them clean. We don't really know at this point. There's still a lot hanging over this. And I think one of the things Kay Ivey is going to have to answer for is, like Jeff said, the appointment of Luther Strange. That's going to have to be something that might need to be looked at, because now the cloud over that appointment has got a lot bigger. Dr. Berg?
Oh, it appears that they're saying 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Okay, I'll just say real quickly that what's going to be interesting is what unfolds from this point forward. It probably will have less to do with Governor Bentley and more to do with the new governor, Governor Kay Ivey. But going back to Governor Bentley, this does leave some things up in the air, perhaps even the interim U.S. Senator, Mr. Strange. How will the public react to this, although his office or his former office did follow through with the prosecution?
It is going to be very interesting. And of course, it's also going to be interesting to see, what comes next for Governor Bentley. Where do you go from here?
Exactly.
This is a man who has had a very distinguished career. He served in the military. He was raised in near poverty in near Birmingham. He put himself through school, served his country, ran an extremely successful dermatology practice.
Even the pre-K program, I mean, is one of the best in the nation.
But it is going to be one of these things where, let's face it, this is perhaps forever going to be his legacy. That despite all of his accomplishments throughout his life, that he resigned as governor of Alabama. Jeff, who are we seeing walk in right there? You're pointing at the screen.
What we're seeing right there is that's actually
there he
Governor
comes.
Bentley
Here
right
comes the
now.
governor. Now, former governor.
Well, good afternoon. I've lived in this great state of Alabama now for my entire life. I grew up here. I went to college here. I raised a family here. I practiced medicine in Tuscaloosa for 35 years. And in 2010, I received the greatest honor of my life when the people of our great state elected me and chose me and humbly asked me to serve as their governor. I've always believed the honor of serving as your governor was a calling that God placed on my life. I've not always made the right choices. I've not always said the right things. Though I've sometimes failed, I've always tried to live up to the high expectations the people place on the person who holds this esteemed office. Though I have committed myself to working to improve the lives of the people of our state, there have been times that I have let you and our people down, and I'm sorry for that. The consequences of my mistakes have been grievously unfair to you, my loyal and dedicated staff, and my cabinet, and all of our agencies who have continued your exemplary service to our people in your respective agencies in the face of difficult circumstances. I can no longer allow my family, my dear friends, my dedicated staff and cabinet to be subjected to the consequences that my past actions have brought upon them. I have spent the last year in deep and earnest prayer over our state and our people. I pray every morning for wisdom and guidance and forgiveness for the sins that I commit. This Easter week, I'm even more grateful for a loving and merciful Savior who will always love me and you unconditionally. The governor is the face of the state in Alabama, in virtually all areas, even on a national stage. And I want you to know I love our people with all of my heart, and I want nothing more than to serve them, whether in natural disasters, whether in helping 4-year-olds qualify for a great pre-K program that we have here, or to just help create jobs and help them feed their families. But the time has come for me to look at new ways to serve the good people of our great state. I have decided it is time for me to step down as Alabama's governor. I'm leaving this office that I have held, that I have respected, that I've loved for 7 years, to focus on other and possibly more effective areas of service. I love our people in this state. I love this office. However, I realize there are things more important than a political office. I have spoken with Lieutenant Governor Ivey, and we have agreed that the people of our state need and deserve a positive and peaceful transition of power. I will be leaving the office today, April the 10th. But my administration will work with Lieutenant Governor Ivey's administration to provide any assistance needed to make a smooth transition and have minimal disruption on our state. I am forever filled with the gratitude of the honor that has been placed on me by the people of this state to serve as your governor. Especially, I give thanks to God for such a wonderful gift that He gave me when He allowed me to be the governor of Alabama. A special gift to the wonderful, loyal, and very talented staff in cabinet and agencies who truly are the backbone of our state government. And I am forever grateful for the service each and every one of you has given to me and the sacrifices that you have made, and most of all, the dedication that you have shown to making Alabama a great state. Together, we've accomplished some amazing things, and I know great things are still ahead for our state. So again, let me thank you for your service, and I want to thank you for being your governor. And I also want to thank particularly all of the people across this state who every day send me texts, send me emails, tell me how much they love me, tell me how much they still care for me, and tell me that they are praying for me. So please continue to do that, and I will continue to pray for you. So thank you, and goodbye. And I love this state from the bottom of my heart and the people who live here. God bless you.
All right, there you have it. Governor Robert Bentley has officially resigned from office. Also, this just coming in for the Associated Press. The governor has, as we said, pleaded guilty on 2 campaign and ethics charges. Went over the charges. A plea agreement was signed. The now former Governor Bentley told the judge he understood the charges. The agreement specifies that Robert Bentley must surrender campaign funds totaling $36,912 within a week.
And he also must perform 100 hours of community service as a physician. He also cannot seek public office again. We're also told that the 12 months of probation will be unsupervised. Now, jail records show that he was booked on those charges. And just to recap those charges, it was failing to file a major contribution report and knowingly converting campaign contributions to personal use.
And what you're looking at right here is the governor's mugshot from when he was booked into the Montgomery County Jail earlier today. Booked in, booked out very, very quickly. The fines levied against him were nominal at that time, so it's no big surprise he was in and out. Reports, Demetrius, say that the governor appeared to be sullen and looked down at the floor during Monday's afternoon session, something that I noticed was going on a lot during the address that
he just made.
He didn't make a tremendous amount of eye contact, and of course, you know, the media in this state has been following him very, very closely. We're talking about taxpayer money involved in this. This is our job, to make sure that people are held accountable when they are using your money. So I imagine that he is none too fond of the press today.
But what's interesting to me is not only did he apologize to Alabamians, he also apologized to his staff. I mean, that's what really stood out to me. He said he was so grateful for all the work that they helped him through, and he really did apologize for all of this national attention.
What's very interesting, you may have noticed if you did just hear the governor's, former governor, I've got to get used to saying that, former Governor Robert Bentley's address. He alluded to his friends and family, did not get into any specifics. I was very curious to see if at all he was going to mention his now ex-wife, Diane, but I feel, I guess in doing so, it would have been an admission of guilt that there was an extramarital affair taking place, something the governor, despite us having seen these text messages, has always vehemently denied.
And our political analysts are in the room with us right now. We want to go check in with Dr. Wayman Burke and Dale Jackson.
Gentlemen, your reaction.
What a disaster all the way around. I mean, he comes out and he is applauded by people inside that chamber, which is a completely tone-deaf thing for every single person in there to do. They should have sat on their hands, turned their backs, whatever. You do not applaud a guy who's resigning. Then he gets up there, he tells everyone how he is all about honor and God. Well, good Lord, Dr. Bentley, we already know that you're not about honor, you're not about God. We know what you did, yet he still went out there and he said it. And then on top of that, the 70-year-old man who doesn't know how text messages works is out there talking about all the texts and phone calls he receives. And it is absolutely ridiculous for him to be bringing this up. There's no way to give a good I resign speech. This one was just bad.
Dr. Wayman Burke, your reaction to this as a lifelong Alabamian, and you know, we obviously just witnessed history being made.
Well, it's certainly history being made, Demetria and Bill. It's, again, unfortunate. I'm still shocked at the speed that this has moved down the track, so to speak. But I think he was trying to be gracious, offer a sincere apology. He did veer off into his religious beliefs and so forth, which I think to many people, as Dale has indicated, view that almost as hypocritical. But in the end, since he actually did plead guilty to these things, I do think I have to agree with you. That would seem to lack some honor that he talked a great deal about.
What do y'all think about the plea agreement here? $36,900 have to be returned in a week, 100 hours of community service as a physician, can't seek public office again.
You're a governor. You're going to get away with a lot of that you're not going to get away with any other time. No one else is getting this deal. This is a go-away governor. He said, well, I'm going to work on public service. No, you're not. Go away. Because nobody wants anything to do with you at this point. So I don't see him doing anything of value from here on out except his court-mandated community service.
I tend to agree. I think that probably a lot of people, even his former supporters, believe that he should just go away. And they certainly don't want him around for the elections.
Okay, gentlemen, we want to interrupt really quickly. Let's go right now back to WAAY 31's Jeff Martin, who has been following this case since day one. Jeff.
Bill, exactly. That's the governor that we saw in this news conference was not the governor that I've covered for over a year. That was a very contrite and not a sullen governor. That's almost exactly right. Whenever I've covered him and asked him questions about this, it's been very defiant or he's done nothing wrong. And it's been crazy. And this governor today was not the governor that we've seen for over a year. Back to you, Bill and Demetria.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jeff. We're actually going to go and check in with WAAY 31's Kat Reed because she was in that room as Governor, well, the former Governor Bentley gave his announcement. Kat.
Yeah, well, Bill, Demetria, it's odd to hear that former Governor Bentley. It of course happened right here behind me at this podium. That is where Governor Bentley just spoke. In these historic House chambers, we saw a very historic announcement today. And just across the hall in a few minutes, we're expected to see Lieutenant Governor Kay Ivey sworn in, the new governor of Alabama. She will be only the second female governor in history, other than Lurleen Wallace, who served for about 15 months. So we are getting ready for Kay Ivey to be sworn in, but it has just been a madhouse here. In fact, the reason it took me a while to get to you guys is because there were so many microphones on this podium that I actually grabbed someone else's microphone instead of my own because there are just so many here. And the media, we ran up the steps to get set up here. Now we're all about to run across the hall to the historic Senate chambers to do this all over again, to see Lieutenant Governor Kay Ivey sworn in as the next governor of Alabama. But it was definitely an interesting mood in this room. We saw Governor Bentley walk in. The entire crowd rose and applauded him as he walked in. He was very contrite, very apologetic in his message. And during the last couple of words here in this room, you could hear his voice catch just a little bit, a lot of emotion for him in making that announcement. As he finished his speech and quickly walked out, the crowd also applauded him then. But for now, I'm probably going to go across the hall to get set up in the Senate chambers to see our new governor sworn in. But for now, reporting live in Montgomery, Kat Reed, WAAY 31, Hometown News.
Hey, Kat, before you step out, because it kind of ended as soon as Governor Bentley finished speaking, we came back to us. What was the mood like after he finished speaking?
Yeah, the room after, it was almost like everyone was shell-shocked. Everyone just sat here for a second waiting to see, is something else going to happen? He quickly walked out after those people applauded. And so we stood here for a second, and then the media ran to grab their mics and do everything and get ready to cross the hall. But it was a very, very serious moment, obviously, in this room. And in fact, it was a lot of press here in this area, but backlining the walls, a lot of lawmakers, including Representative Mike Ball, who, as you know, recused himself from the House Judiciary Committee for the investigation. And he's been a big part of the impeachment process before that. So those people were here looking on, and I know that a lot of them were really ready for this moment to come. It seemed as though it never would. It kept being pushed back. We weren't sure if it was going to happen. So there was kind of a sigh of relief, I think, from some of the lawmakers in the back of the room here. So that was one of the predominant emotions.
Kat, I do have to ask, who applauded? I wasn't expecting the governor to receive a standing ovation when he came in to resign. I expected a very sullen room.
Yeah.
I am curious who applauded. Was it these lawmakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I was also not expecting that. I was kind of taken off guard, but I think a lot of his staff members were here in the room, and so a lot of them applauded. But it was a lot of people, so I think it was a mix of staffers and maybe just some people applauding him for what they believe is the right thing for him to do, the right move for him to make at this point.
All right, WAAY 31's Kat Reed has been in Montgomery. She is going to be heading over to the expected swearing in of the new governor of Alabama, Kay Ivey.
And we're actually going to have that live for you at 6 o'clock. It's going to air right here on ABC. We're also going to stream that on our Facebook Live. You can check there. And if you have reaction, we want to hear what you have to say. So make sure you tweet us at WAAY TV. Also go on Facebook. We have a lot of conversations that we're going on right now, too, because we want to know what you think.
And once again, if you do just happen to be tuning in, Governor Robert Bentley, now former Governor Robert Bentley, has resigned from office. Kay Ivey, the lieutenant governor, expected to be sworn in tonight at 6 o'clock. The governor has agreed to a plea deal. He will pay nearly $37,000 worth of campaign funds, have to surrender those campaign funds within a week, perform 100 hours of community service as a physician. Of course, Governor Bentley, former Governor Bentley, is a dermatologist. Also, as part of the agreement, he will no longer be allowed to seek any public office, although I think even if that provision wasn't there, he likely was not going to do that.
But he did want to, or he said he did want to ensure that there is a smooth transition for when now Governor Kay Ivey is going to step in too. He also apologized to Alabamians. He apologized to staff and said he prays every single morning for wisdom, guidance, and for the sins that he committed. So we are definitely going to continue to stay on top of this story as it continues to develop. At 6 o'clock, we're going to have a live stream of Governor Kay Ivey. She's going to be getting sworn in as well.
Yes, so stay tuned right now for World News tonight with David Muir. And we will see you back here tonight at 6. My apologies to the Jeopardy loyalists, but I'm sure you understand the magnitude of what is taking place. We'll see you back here tonight at 6.